fuck we want.
Okay, it's recording.
Alright, well, it's Martin Luther King Day weekend Leftofawesome, so effectively it's a day where our state capitalist government gives us
still recording.
school off so as to celebrate a guy who technically was a civil liberties activist, socialist, and pacifist while continuing a bunch of wars and engaging in corporatist state capitalism. So that's always great. And then, of course, the school system gets to misrepresent him through a bunch of platitudes to school children and just create a mythologized, idealized version of Martin Luther King, which is fully innocuous. So that's fun! What's particularly amusing is when conservatives try and claim Martin Luther King as one of their own and then attack Obama for socialism, when Martin Luther King was a socialist and then, of course, Barack Obama clearly isn't. He's part of the same corporatist paradigm that has been running the country for the past, well, I don't know how long, but...
Forever?
Yeah, forever.
Essentially?
Pretty much, you know. He is expanding the size of government in a way which disproportionately favors the current corporate power structures. Point in case, Obamacare, where he happens to be, you know, offering a bunch of subsidies in the form of health insurance mandates that require everyone to buy from private insurers, while at the same time not engaging in either the requisite regulations, government programs, or deregulations, which would either increase competition or create bargaining power necessary to lower healthcare costs for average Americans. So that's always fun, too!
The fact that you just sort of babbling off the top of your head right now is really entertaining.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I am, too. This is what happens when I don't plan vlogs. At all.
Apparently.
I just rant about shit. And I think I use the word corporatist too much.
Anyway, hello, Leftofawesome. That was... I don't know what that was.
I don't know either. Well, welcome to our least structured vlog yet. We have no fucking clue what we're going to talk about. However, I am going to assert that I stand by the statements made previously because they are factually accurate, and if you would like to challenge me on those, I can produce the relevant links, believe me.
What do we do now?
I don't know. Well, we point out that this is not a video effect and that we really are in the same room by me hugging you? Yeah. That'll do. This is vlog-worthy material, right?
I agree.
Oh, we could talk about various current events this weekend. How's the Prop 8 challenge going? Anybody know?
I haven't heard any new developments lately. Equality California hasn't sent anything out lately.
Well, that suggests that a ruling hasn't been made, which would make sense seeing as oral arguments just recently started. But basically, we've got on our side the lawyers from both sides of Bush v. Gore, so that's kind of nice, and Ted Olson has a pretty good conservative rep, and, you know.
Well, then there's the fact that there's the home court advantage that it's currently in San Francisco.
Oh, that's good.
Which it's San Francisco.
Yeah.
No other explanation needed. It's San Francisco.
That's always useful for gay rights, unless, of course, San Francisco's entire, shall we say, vibe has flown out the window.
No, the Castro's still there.
All right.
We're good.
Well, last we checked, maybe the human mental construct of object permanence is secretly an invalid psychological technique, and objects really aren't permanent, and everything is generated by one's observation. But that's highly improbable based on my own epistemology of empiricism. So let's go with the approach I have, because that sort of, all that what the bleep bullshit that attempts to misappropriate quantum mechanics to say stuff's only there because you observe it is purely unadulterated bullshit that is not logically derivable from any sane interpretation of quantum theory.
What are you talking about?
The inanity of one believing that things are only there because you observe them.
Alrighty then. What do we talk about now? Let's think.
This will either be this is going to be one of the most bizarre and most entertaining vlogs in the Left of Awesome canon, I estimate.
Most likely.
Yeah, well.
It's raining?
That
Sort
is
of? Or it was
kind of.
recently. The
Kind
grass
of.
is wet.
Well, that's always important information, incredibly pertinent to the political climate in this country.
Exactly.
I mean, we all know the connection that rain has to our situation. After all, rain falls just as bombs fall on civilians in Yemen, and Afghanistan, and Pakistan.
And like 8 billion other places in the world.
Approximately 5 Muslim countries where we're currently engaged in wars or warlike activities, mainly. Oh,
They're
well,
military actions.
indeed. To fight the terrorists. You know, because giving them direct propaganda so as to radicalize the population by directly connecting the United States to the deaths of a bunch of Muslim civilians and to clear hypocrisy from our values is really a great way of fighting terrorists, especially when the terrorist targets that you think you're hitting in Yemen later turn out to have not been hit, while 43 civilians or so, including a bunch of women and children, end up having been killed. That always works fantastically for fighting terrorism. And yet nobody talks about it in Congress except, say, Ron Paul, because if you examine the motives of terrorists, you're clearly engaged in apologism on behalf of terrorists, claiming that their actions are legitimate, rather than simply attempting to understand how we deal with the problem. Oh, Washington, why do you despise reality-based thinking so much?
Because they live in a bubble.
Pretty much.
I've been to
bubble.
Washington, D.C. There's definitely a bubble around it. It's definitely a bubble.
Yeah. Me too.
It's also a bubble that makes everything cost like 3 times the amount it does here. Like, it's like $15 for a disposable camera. Why?
Wow.
Why? Not even at the airport, just like in a drugstore. It's like $15 for a disposable camera.
Well, one thing Washington sure is good at is inflating the price of things. I mean, we've got the Federal Reserve, which often leads to inflation by printing a bunch of money. Then we've got all those tariffs, especially sugar tariffs. Have I ranted about sugar tariffs lately? Yes, I have. So I'm not going to do that again, even though most of you who are watching this probably haven't heard me rant about sugar tariffs. But I will gladly do so upon request, no matter when. Seriously, fuck our subsidies to American agricultural industries. Fuck them in the ass with a katana.
That's what, 5 different subjects we've covered in the past 8 minutes and 34 seconds?
Yeah, I guess.
That's an accomplishment right there.
Yeah, I suppose we've got a pretty complete vlog right now. So yeah, in case you couldn't tell, I'm in California at the moment. So
Yeah, he's in my house.
Yeah.
Which is why we're in the same room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. So yeah. See you later, Left of Awesome.
Toodles.